When I first received SimCam, it was actually to make a number of tutorial videos for the company themselves, but as I started to utilize this device, we decided to come forward and do a review on it. Why? Because it brings just about every feature you have been asking me for. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and today I'm going to take the frustration out of automation by finally giving you the smart home camera features you've been looking for. Now, of course, I have to give you fair warning, SimCam in the end did sponsor this video. That doesn't mean that they get any special treatment other than it means they got the date they wanted for the review, because we are very busy right now on Automate Your Life. But let's get to the camera. Let's find out what SimCam is. So it's a smart home camera, but it is a high quality smart home camera. It has the ability to rotate fully around its base and give a full 360 degrees range of motion. It's also 1080p, has night vision, and a ton of other features that we'll talk about. Its biggest feature is probably the processor that is on board this device that powers most of the features that you're going to care about. What it does, well, it's amazing to me what we're seeing in smart home cameras. So this is a 1080p 30 frame per second camera with night vision. It also has the ability to do motion tracking, and like I said, it rotates fully around its base. It has if this then that integration, as well as integration with Google and Amazon's voice assistant. Now that's where the standard features end, because what you actually have the ability to do with this is object monitoring. So a device or an object within the field of view of SimCam can actually be monitored, and if it moves, you will get a notification, recordings to start. And what's really powerful about this device is that onboard processor that we talked about allows that all to happen on device. You also have micro SD cards that can be installed in the back that allows it to be stored on device. There is no cloud recording. You can go and connect this to a local NAS, a local NAS storage within your network if you'd like, and that gives you a secondary storage option as well. But all of this is happening on device. You're also getting face detection and person detection capability, so you will get those notifications, and it is very good at face detection. I've found this device to be as good as any that I have at telling who I am when I enter into the space. Now on top of that, it's 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz capable, and that's a feature we don't see on a ton of smart home cameras, except some of the bigger name ones that we have out there.
Connecting Wi-Fi. Please wait for a minute. Connection succeeded.
A lot of what I like about the device is based on that local processing and local storage capabilities. Those being combined into kind of one package here allows the device to do a lot, and that includes reporting events to you very quickly. I have not seen another device on my network respond as quickly as this one does. I will get those notifications when someone's in a space or the object has moved or whatever I've set up for triggers. I will get that very quickly, and I can also go and review those events much more quickly and get into the camera much more quickly, especially when I'm within my own home network, because none of this is traveling outside of the camera or my local network. That local processing capability also means the accuracy of the events that I'm getting are very high, and it's not perfect. No camera is going to be perfect, but it has been pretty close to perfect in terms of what it's reporting to me as well. And as I kind of talk about that local capability, it means I can add a number of these to my network without major impacts. And you know, this isn't necessarily the case with Nest devices that are constantly uploading to the cloud or other cloud-based cameras. That's what they're doing, and it can slow down networks depending on your router and depending on your bandwidth. You don't really have that problem here because none of it is coming outside of the camera until you request it. And so you're really only requesting one at a time. If you send them to a local NAS storage, well, yeah, you might have a little more traffic going on there. That might be a little little tricky to do, but in general, when it's all being housed on board, you can add a lot of these without impacts to your network. And even when I go outside my network, I'm finding that this is faster because I'm not having to access a cloud, a set of servers. I'm really just coming into my home network, and so the delays are really only based on my cell network or the Wi-Fi that I'm on wherever I am. And all of this culminates in that one thing that all of you guys, you all come at me about. I don't want a cloud subscription. No cloud subscription, finally. And normally, and I think you're getting that I really like this device, but normally this is where I'd say, yeah, face detection, it's really good, it's really cool. But I'm not even just going to say that. See, this one has actually worked in relatively low light conditions, and I've struggled with that in a lot of cases. I mean, even my Nest cameras have struggled a little bit. I showed you the Amarillo here. It sometimes struggles in low light, though it does pretty well as well. But this has been the best recognition I've seen for face detection in low light environments, and I've even had it work a few times in pitch black. So it's IR lights, or it's IR lighting setup. There's actually quite a few on it. It works really well. And I really do like that object monitoring option. That's a really unique option. And so I think this becomes a great wall mountable camera or sitting somewhere in your home that can watch over something very specific for you. And while it's not a perfect system because it can seem like the device moves if someone walks in front of it, it is still pretty good. You know, if they kind of stand there for a long time, I will get a notification that something has changed. The object monitored is no longer there. So you can have some false positives from that, but overall I love that feature because it is so unique and can be used in a lot of ways. The if this then that integration is also very powerful, and you know, when you have all of those different types of triggers, so face detection, person detection, or object monitoring being brought into if this then that, obviously you're able to then go and utilize if this then that to trigger a lot of other things throughout your smart home. So that's very powerful. And on the action side, really you're just able to turn on a privacy mode, sorry. You can turn that on or off, but that allows you to control those notifications that you do get from the device. Now this brings me to a few things that I don't really love about the device, and you know what? The integration with the voice assistants is pretty weak. You can really only get how many visitors have been through your home, and this is through Google Assistant, and this is through Amazon's voice assistant as well. So you have that integration, you can get those visitors, and then you can turn on and off that privacy mode as well that you had access to with if this and that. But that's where it begins and ends. You can't really bring them up on the screens that you have if you have smart displays. That's a little unfortunate, and one of the things I don't really love. Some of the notifications you get from this, if it's a really busy environment and you're leaving this camera fully monitoring, they can be a bit much. You do get a lot when people and faces and things are moving through spaces that you have all these different modes turned on. So the easiest way to manage this is actually through the privacy mode. So if you don't need this all the time, that's the easiest way. It's a little slow to pan the camera when you're in live view mode. You kind of have to swipe each time you want it to move a certain percentage. I'd like that to speed up a little bit. The other thing is it's quite loud, and you can really hear this device panning, so it's not going to be the silent type, and so you just have to keep that in mind. You're going to hear it as it tracks, and someone else would hear it as it tracks as they move through a space. Finally, some of the wording in the application is a little different, and this isn't to say that it's bad. Keep this in mind. A good example of that is if you want to turn on motion tracking and have the camera follow motion, it's called pedestrian tracking. And it's not that this is a real problem, but it does create a couple of things that you got to learn about the application. So the question is, do I recommend SimCam. Does this get our seal of approval? Well, this is a pretty easy one. With the features like the local processing, the local storage, the great night vision that it actually has, it's a very improved night vision versus a lot of other smart home cameras. The object monitoring is a very powerful security feature. Face detection, person detection being such high accuracy. And again, all of this happening on board with no cloud subscription for $170 US. This makes it a really easy recommendation from me. You guys have been asking for this for forever. Here it is in one package at $170. So I think as long as you can live with those couple of things that you're not getting in terms of the voice assistant integration being really powerful, then I think you're pretty much ready to go here. Thanks for watching, everyone, and of course, don't hate, automate.